Hello and welcome to the Grab Bag of Holding. In this series, a random item is pulled from the artifact known as the Grab Bag of Holding and shown to you. An excerpt about the item will be read before a brief history of the item is shared and its capabilities are demonstrated. Some of the items that appear in this series may be nothing more than trinkets, and others may be cornerstones of existence. If the creators of the item are known, they will be credited as such, as all rights in regards to the item belong to them. As discussed in a previous episode, our first pull is of an item with an intrinsic link to another, hailing from the realm of Warcraft owned by Blizzard. Fortunately, the link for both items means each one will get its own spotlight. Let us now look at the crown most feared with the power to control the dead, the Helm of Domination. A crown fit for the King of the Damned, Zovaal the Jailer. In the cold, dark heart of Icecrown, where the winds of the frozen throne howl eternally, there exists an artifact of unparalleled dread, the Helm of Domination. Forged in the depths of the Shadowlands by hands not of this world, this grim crown is the ultimate symbol of the Lich King's reign, a vessel of infinite malice and control. The helm's jagged form is wrought with blackened saronite, infused with the spectral essence of countless tormented souls. Its surface gleams like polished night, broken only by the cruel, frost-touched runes that pulse with ancient magic. Sharp, cruel spikes rise from its crown, each one a conduit to the icy will of the Lich King, radiating an aura of cold so intense that the air around it freezes in shimmering mist. But the true power of the Helm of Domination lies not in its fearsome appearance, but in its insidious purpose. More than a mere helm, this artifact is a prison of souls, a nexus through which the Lich King commands legions of undead, binding them to his iron will. Those who wear the helm are no longer mortal. They become avatars of death itself, wielding the authority to command the dead as easily as one commands their own limbs. The helm's influence seeps into the mind, corrupting and distorting the wearer's thoughts until only the cold, unfeeling logic of domination remains. Whispers surround the helm, carried by those who have dared to peer into its dark history. It is said that the helm is not only a conduit to the Lich King's power, but also the very entity that created him, an ancient, malevolent force from beyond the mortal plane, hungering for conquest over life and death alike. To wear the Helm of Domination is to bear the weight of untold eons of darkness, to feel the icy tendrils of control tighten around one's soul until it is indistinguishable from the very essence of undeath itself. No mortal has ever worn the helm and remained unchanged. Those who don it are forever bound to the frozen throne, becoming an instrument of the cold, relentless power that holds dominion over all things. Even the bravest of souls cannot escape the fate that the helm promises, a fate of eternal winter, of ruling over a kingdom of silence and death. The Helm of Domination stands as a reminder to the terrible price of power, a crown for kings of ice and shadow, and a symbol of the never-ending struggle between life and death. Those who would dare to claim it must be prepared to face not only the world, but the darkness within themselves. The Helm of Domination is a magical ornate helm created by an entity known as the Rune Carver, who resides in the Shadowlands, the afterlife. It was made in tandem and linked with the rune blade known as Frostmourne. Forced to by the jailer, the Rune Carver inscribed the runes of domination onto the helm so that the jailer may use it to influence the world of Azeroth as a part of his schemes. Under the orders of the jailer, a group of demons known as the Nathrazim bore the Helm of Domination across the Vale and delivered it into the grasp of the Burning Legion. The helm would not see use until the Orc Shaman Azul had his soul bonded to the helm, and by extension, Frostmourne. Both helm and blade were sent by the Burning Legion to Azeroth, where they both came crashing down in the Arctic land of Northrend, entombed within the Frozen Throne. Now in command of the helm and blade, the newly formed Lich King began his plans of conquest by using his power to push Frostmourne out of the Frozen Throne and into a cave to await one who would claim it. The helm remained trapped within the frozen throne, but the mind of the Lich King began to reach out, calling to those who had darkness in their heart. The Lich King, using the power of the Helm of Domination, rose several creatures from the dead, and all who were raised by it were bound to the helm, becoming a part of the Scourge. With this slowly growing legion, the Lich King expanded the frozen throne and came into conflict with the Nerubians, a race of large spiders. The War of the Spider came as a result of the Lich King wishing to lay claim to all of Northrend, but in time, the Scourge proved too much. As necromancers heeded the call of the Lich King, a plague was concocted that would kill the infected and raise them under the power of the Helm. Soon, the Lich King found a champion he desired, and through the power of the Helm commanded a scenario to be devised where the paladin Arthas Menethil would take Frostmourne. The plan succeeded, and the first Death Knight of the Lich King fell under the Helm's power. Eventually, the Lich King fell under threat and recalled his forces, the power of the Helm starting to fail after a wound was inflicted upon the frozen throne. This loss of power allowed some of the undead to break free from the Helm's control. Using the power of Frostmourne, Arthur shattered the prison and claimed the Helm of Domination, becoming the next Lich King. Too much power had been expended, however, and the Lich King needed to hibernate. Within this hibernation, the two minds now within the Helm came into conflict. The first Lich King, Ner'zhul, sought to manipulate Arthas, but Arthas cast the spirit aside, becoming the dominant power of the Helm of Domination. What was left of Ner'zhul still remained, but Arthas was in control. Though he needed to recover, the Scourge, who didn't initially break free, remained under the control of the Helm. Eventually, the Lich King awoke and reignited his conquest, more and more falling under the control of the Helm. The Helm of Domination would always remain on the Lich King's body, unlike Frostmourne. The forces of the living made one final push against the Lich King and made it to the Frozen Throne, where the Lich King awaited with Frostmourne. During the climactic battle, the Lich King grew bored with the battle and unleashed the full power of Frostmourne, slaying every champion atop the Frozen Throne except Tyrion Fordring, who only survived by the will of the Lich King. Before the Lich King could use Frostmourne to raise the champions into undeath, Tyrion broke free of his bonds, and using the power of Ashbringer and the Light, shattered Frostmourne. With the blade shattered, the souls inside were freed, and the Lich King fell. With the death of the Lich King, a terrible burden revealed itself. If nobody wore the Helm of Domination, the undead under his control would run rampant. There must forever be a Lich King. This great sacrifice was performed by Bolvar Fordragon, who bore the crown and became the next Lich King. Though Bolvar's will would stop the Scourge from advancing, the influence of the Lich King would seep into his mind. Though different from the previous wearers, the new Lich King was still hostile to those who entered the Frozen Throne. The Lich King's end would come once more in the form of the Banshee Sylvanas Windrunner. Empowered by the Jailer, she ripped the helm from Bolvar's head and pulled the helm apart. The release of energy pierced the veil between the living world and the afterlife known as the Shadowlands. Though it was shattered just like Frostmourne, the Helm of Domination's power remained, eventually being reforged into the Crown of Wills. The Helm of Domination may not be as renowned as the blade it was paired with, but it scarred Azeroth's history, and its power was so great it could shatter reality. After being pulled from the grab bag of holding and performing a series of identification rituals, this is what I have learned about this item. The most important detail is that the Helm of Domination is linked with Frostmourne, the two sharing a bond. The Helm of Domination is a wondrous item and is an artifact. It requires attunement, but to do so you must wear the crown. Attuning to the helm is dangerous as it requires a DC 18 Wisdom saving throw, a failure dealing 10d10 psychic damage. Successfully attuning grants you the power of the Lich King, which initially appears as random properties. One minor and one major beneficial property, as well as one minor detrimental property, which are random when the helm is found. The first ability of the helm is Command the Scourge. Whilst attuned to the Helm of Domination, any undead that has been raised by you or those under the control of the helm remain under your control permanently. This extends to any undead raised by the previous wielders of the Helm. You can command any number of undead under your influence telepathically, so long as they are on the same plane of existence as you. In addition, you know the identity of each undead under the Helm's control. When the Helm is first discovered, roll 5d20. A number of undead whose collective challenge rating is equal to the result are already under the control of the Helm of Domination. For example, if you rolled a 53, you could have 212 zombies already under the Helm's control, or 2 liches and 44 zombies. Next is Reflective Gaze. Whilst attuned to the Helm of Domination, you can use your action to gaze through Frostmourne until the start of your next turn. Whilst looking through Frostmourne, you have dark vision out to 120 feet and can hear your surroundings. During this time, you are blind and deaf with regard to your own senses. The Helm grants the wearer spells, having 10 charges it can use to cast certain spells. With the Helm, you can cast Command, Control Weather, Control Winds, Detect Magic, Dominate Monster, Dominate Person, Gust of Wind, Ice Storm, Invulnerability, Mental Prison, Otiluke's Freezing Sphere, Power Word Pain, Scrying, Sending, Teleport, and Wall of Ice. As Ner'zhul's soul is grafted into the Helm, it has a form of sentience. It has a 20 in every mental stat, as well as hearing and blind sight out to 120 feet. The Helm can speak telepathically with its wearer, and knows Common, Infernal, Orc, and Primordial. Since it's sentient, it also has a personality which seeks to raise all life into undeath. The spirit within the Helm of Domination constantly whispers to the wearer and tries to influence them to fulfill the grand vision of the Lich King. At each dawn, a creature attuned to the Helm must make a DC 18 Wisdom saving throw. Each time the creature fails, its alignment moves closer and closer to lawful evil. If the creature fails the saving throw 10 times total, its mind and soul become one with the spirit of the Lich King and is reborn as the next Lich King. If that happens, you become an NPC under the DM's control. The Helm can be destroyed, but not easily. The Helm of Domination was forged by a greater power beyond the mortal realm and can only be undone by the same dark power that created it, or a power even greater. If the Helm is given to a greater deity, or a being infused with their power, they can spend an action to shatter the Helm. The Helm of Domination is all that holds the undead under its command at bay, and destroying it will free them of its control. To wear this crown is a heavy burden, but in the pursuit of power, the Helm of Domination is unrivaled in its abilities. But with that, we've reached the end of today's video. Before you head off, I would like to thank you for watching, and I hope you managed to get something out of this. The Helm of Domination item page is available on D&D Beyond for free, and the link to it is in the description. I hope you all have a great day, and may your dice roll favourably. Goodbye for now.